just a few short weeks ago, off the board, Sub-Zero and Hamilton, they had to dig deep. They were not played off the park. It's a valiant performance, certainly one to be proud of, and an away goal and a draw next week at El Volcan would be enough for Forge to advance. 90 minutes to go, but a proud 90 minutes in Hamilton as we send it back to the studio. It's 0-0.
Really good performance by Forge in the, well, intolerable conditions of Hamilton Stadium. It's freezing cold. It's their first game of the year. So many different excuses could be used, but Forge hung around and probably should have gone on to find a late match winner as well. Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. For the first time ever, Forge and the Concacaf Champions Cup come away with the result, their first draw. And the noticeable change for me, Jordan, seems like in the 3 years before this, they tried to play a Forge brand of football, stay on the ball, which is very difficult early in the season. But this was a little bit more pragmatic. It was resourceful in a way. They were able to grind this result out, and good on them. Now they go back down to Mexico next week with a puncher's chance.
That 3-4-2-1, Bobby Smirniotis, I think it went to plan in terms of how they could just be so tight together, and they're hard to break down. I'm really proud of this Forge side, the way that they played tonight, because you can see that they just stuck to that plan and that they wanted to work hard for that result. You mentioned it, they could have maybe been ahead in this game, but there were no parts of this match in this 90 minutes tonight where they looked leggy or they looked like they were just running out of steam. It was a hard-fought performance from them.
Yeah, I mean, there's times when Forge, like, it's admirable trying to go toe-to-toe against these Mexican giants.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to approach things a little bit different. Perhaps this is just experience for Bobby Smirniotis, understanding what he has. Full credit to the club as well. They're committed to bringing in some really good new players and throwing them into the mix right away, rather than waiting a little bit later for kickoff for the CPL season to come in April. I think that at this time of the year, sometimes it's these slim or small margins that matter the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Bobby Smirniotis said with KJ before on the sit-down, he said, if your strategy is correct, you can overcome anything. You can see that tonight. Like, they stuck to that plan. There are players that chipped in. Bubuli comes out, and players in the midfield. Ramatario, I thought he was exceptional. You look at Noah Jensen as well. He was heating up, even though it's a frigid night. Ben Payton had an enormous match as well. This is a big performance from Forge. I know they didn't get that goal, but they leave themselves the door a little bit cracked, a little bit open, so they can do something next week.
Of course. It's worth restating that Tigres are well into the second half of their season. In the first half of the season, they have finished runners-up to Toluca in terms of the Apertura. This Forge team has had a month to work together, training indoors, went down to Cancun, Mexico, came back, some of the players feeling a little bit under the weather, and they were able to dig in and come away with the result. One thing that we're continuing to see, whether it's CPL clubs against MLS sides or Liga MX sides, the gap continues to narrow. Like, these Canadian Premier League teams, when they are running, they're no joke. They're competitive, they're well managed, well coached, and the players look at this as an opportunity as well. And I think that the Forge players did themselves really well tonight.
Yeah, they did. It was a collective performance. Like I said, obviously, you want to be in mid-season form in terms of finishing. I think about certain chances tonight that they maybe could have capitalized on, but in terms of a team that stuck together, that was resolute. You can't ask for much more from Forge today.
Yeah, and you mentioned those chances. The one chance came in the 85th minute. It's your Walmart delivery of the match. And Forge had a really good spell over the course of the last 15, 20 minutes of game. There was a 5-minute period where they started to apply a little pressure. This is Yevremovic coming down the left-hand side. Him and Rama were a pain in the you-know-what throughout. And it fell to Reza Rama, just leaning back a little bit. That is a wonderful ball. Rama on top of the 6. Just needs to shape that on target some way, somehow.
Yeah, it's a delicious ball from Yevremovic, but look, it's just that body posture from from Rama, the fact that he's leaning back. If he could just attack it a little bit and it's on frame, I think it's in the back of the net and he's the hero.
I mean, that was the chance.
Yeah.
That was the moment for a potential match winner. In a game where they hung, yes, Tigres went on to miss some chances, but that was the best of the game.
It came at a time, too, where Forge was just a little bit open. They were finding more times where the ball was in transition, whether it be Aromatarios that was catching and grabbing the ball and driving it forward, or Becker, but there was more room at that point. They played the chance big, it was whipped in. That was the big one that he needed to score.
Well, in the second half, the ball was able to stick, to feed a little bit more. In the first half, it's your first 45 of competitive football of the year. It was kind of hit and hope, clear,
they couldn't keep it. They
completely risk-adverse. Yeah. And I think Tigres kind of grew tired of the conditions a little bit, dropped back, and Forge were able to control the game a little bit more.
Yeah, they're chasing that goal, right, Tigres? Like, obviously, they know going to Mexico next week, they're going to try to go and score goals and take it to Forge. But they knew one today would just make them have that much more confidence. But, yeah, as I said, I think Forge could be happy about their performance and the way that they handled things.
I think the captain, Kyle Becker, was outstanding once again tonight. I call him the most underrated player in Canadian football because, I mean, over the course of his career, that's exactly what he has been. He was having a bit of a heart attack in the last minute of stoppage time, the handball right on side of the area. Tigres were unable to punish. But here is Kyle Becker post-match. His thoughts on the 0-0 draw in conversation with KJ.
Quality has played some big games before, and he has something to prove too. So we're happy to have him and happy to have that first one underway.
Can I ask you about the conditions, Kyle? You played in lots of games. Was that one of the coldest?
Yeah, it was pretty chilly. I'm just happy the pitch was a little better than last year. Allowed us to actually move the ball at times. Obviously, it was cold for both teams, but it is what it is, and I think it was decent for a night of football.
Final one, your first competitive game for about 4 months, to go out there and play a team from Mexico in mid-season form and get a 0-0. As a captain, it must fill you with immense pride.
Yeah, it's special. I mean, obviously from a small club from Hamilton, playing in Canada, to go up against a team of this caliber and get a point at home in this competition, it's huge. So I hope the fans of this club, the people in this club, the fans of this league don't take that for granted. I'm very grateful to be in this competition. And yeah, it's one done. We have another way to go, but yeah, we got to be happy with this.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Small club from Hamilton with big hopes, big dreams, and big performances. Like, that's the thing. Just the way that Forge, and whether it be Cavalry or Letico, go down the list. Like, I just don't have the viewpoint of them being small clubs anymore. Maybe young in relative terms, honestly, and clubs that are still emerging and still growing and finding their way. But there's nothing about them that says small-time mentality. And with people like Kyle Becker leading the way, like, it's kind of contagious amongst the club.
Yeah, it is. And look, year in and year out, they're doing that. But I think what the biggest win for me is that Bobby Smirniotis always selects a group that will follow his brand and follow what he wants to do, his tactics, his strategy, the way he wants to go about things. So the fact that they went about their business tonight, and again, they didn't win, but they got you could say a point, right? You're going 0-0. Like, they're able to, there's a lifeline going into next week. So I just think there's also moments in the match where they played it perfectly. When they had to defend and be compact, they were. When it was a bit more open, they dribbled. And even the subs coming on as well. I thought they were acclimated. They got into the match really quickly. So a lot of positives to take from a first match of the year.
Agreed. And the club, Forge, deserve a lot of credit. The field, night and day better this year than it was last year. The Volkswagen moment of the match. Look, it was one of those awkward moments where the ball just sits there inside the 6-yard box. Juan Brunetta ends up finishing it, putting it in the Forge net, but it was offside. I think you and I immediately yelled offside, and with the help of video assistant referee, it was adjudicated just like that.
Yeah, my hand went up, but that's the defender in me. Just more, it was hopeful, but it looked like Brunetta was a little bit beyond Nimic, and that was the truth, and that goal was called back. But that line, it was just that shoulder that was a little bit off, like a little half a yard, but it was enough to be offside.
VAR done right. Your Gatorade performance of the match, let's give it to Dimitri Bertrot, the Forge FC goalkeeper, in his Hamilton debut, his club debut. He was outstanding. It wasn't just saves like this, Jordan. He looked very much the part, in control throughout the game.
Look, you want a keeper to always look calm, always look like they're going to handle situations, even there, right? Like, he looked the part tonight, the way he was leading his line. And we don't have clips of this, but I thought his passes that he made as well, playing at the back, was very composed. He is a great addition to this forward side, and he had a great night.
I mean, Yasin Kalela did very well last year, was the goalkeeper of the year in the Canadian Premier League, but there's class about this player. Like, you don't spend the better part of 6-7 years in Ligue 1 with Montpellier if you're just an average goalkeeper. It seems to me that Forge have found another real gem here to bring in and potentially even take this project forward.
And I think a leader too, right? At the age that he is, like he's nearing 30, but someone that probably wants to just be a #1 keeper.
Wants to play,
like
yes.
Wants to play and really show what he can do. And like I think too as well, you're looking at his size. Is he the tallest? Is he the biggest? Nobody. He has presence. He commands his area. He's great with his feet. So again, it was 90 minutes, but I do like what I see, and I do think that he's going to be a great addition to this league.
It's not easy for new players saying, "What? I'm playing the first week of February in Hamilton in these conditions," but he was outstanding on the day. By the way, shout out to Ben Payton as well. I think that he was great, and he's going to be stepping into a much bigger role for Forge this season as well. Let's chat Marcelo Flores, shall we? Because the impending Canadian national team player he's going through, has been reported, is one-time change to represent Canada instead of Mexico. Showed what he's all about here tonight. He's a technician. And a player that caused all kinds of problems throughout the match for the Forge back line.
So many times throughout the match, I was saying Forge players tackle him. They couldn't touch him. Like, he was so deceptive. He's so shifty. Just when he's just running at the back foot of players. Look at him here. Like, Rama's no slouch, but he just finds the passes. You almost have to give him a little bit more room because he's that shifty, but then he finds and finds teammates like this. Marcelo Flores, he looks the part, wheels, and we were just talking about it, right? Maybe not starting as a winger to go and press, but taking off Jay David, finding areas and pockets where he can go and cook in the midfield. He's a player. He's
playing his best football right now. He's playing off the left-hand side in this formation, but clearly a player that can play underneath, more in a traditional number 10 role for Canada, and a player that maybe Canada doesn't have a like-for-like, that can play the way that Flores does. So it's going to be intriguing. There were moments in the match where, whether it was Rama or other players, they were running around him. Like, Flores was dancing and was commanding the space and the ball so well. So intriguing, to say the least, from Georgetown, Ontario's own Marcelo Flores. Here are is your all-state save of the match, Dimitri Bergeau. I mean, he was the man of the match. This is probably his best save of the bunch.
Yeah, for sure. It's the one that looks the best, but I also think this is going in the back of the net. This is nestling the side corner. But the fact that he just stands his ground, carries that one wide. Again, it's his reaction as well. This is routine, right? He's already telling his guys, hey, turn, be ready to defend the corner. So leadership was exceptional for him, man.
Good technique. The possession got a little bit better for Forge, as did the ball retention in the second half. And set pieces didn't work for Forge necessarily from an attacking perspective. A couple well-hit corner kicks from Tristan Borges, but they defended set pieces as well. And that was a clear focus heading into tonight's game. And that was part of the conversation heading into this one, from Bobby Smirniotis to our very own Christian Jack. And KJ still staying warm somehow, field level at Hamilton Stadium. Defending set pieces turned out to be a big story in this one. Tigres had 8 corner kicks, a number of chances, including the free kick that was taken late by Tigres. That played a big part, but really the sheer determination and pragmatism by Forge, it was admirable tonight and deserving of coming away here with the draw. KJ, how did you see things from your perspective?
Yeah, in the end, a record-setting night when it comes to the temperature, and I think a substantial night in the history of this football club. Ultimately, they didn't get the victory, but it's a clean sheet against the Mexican giant, and I think one that they've learned from in the past. We wondered what the shape would look like and go to a back five. Many heroes and many debutants who played really well tonight as well. We've already talked about the goalkeeper. I thought Batista at the back was very good as well. So I thought Forge showed a lot of courage, a courage to play a different way sometimes, but to stick in there. You alluded to the set pieces. I thought they were tremendous. But, you know, it fills me with great pride to see these teams in the Canadian Premier League go toe-to-toe with these teams from Mexico. Not only are Tigres a Mexican giant, arguably they're one of the best teams in the last 10 years in Mexican football. You know, when people don't understand is like the wage contrast is absolutely remarkable between these clubs. Andre Pierre-Gignac has accomplished almost everything he can accomplish in the game. He earns more more in 2 months than the entire Forge players in a year. And so just to put that into context of what was happening here tonight, yes, the weather played a big part, and in many ways you could say it was a bit of an equalizer. But Guido Pizarro, another legend of Mexican football who's played in Spain as well, I will remember how he greeted Bobby Smirniotis at the end and walked down the tunnel with a look on his face of admiration for the way that this Forge and this Canadian Premier League team played here tonight against, as I said, a Mexican giant who brought a lot of threats, and every credit to Forge to play that way and get out of here with the draw.
And the thing was, KJ, I mean, Tigres didn't take Forge lightly. In the past, we've seen teams really field a mixed side between youth players or players on the fringes of the starting 11. I mean, tonight, this was pretty much a straightforward Tigres starting 11. So they weren't taking Forge lightly. And it stuck out to me in your conversation with Kyle Becker. He said this small club from Hamilton, but there's nothing small about their mentality, is it? Like, they continue to punch above their weight and show, what can be expected when you play clubs from the Canadian Premier League. We saw it last year with Cavalry as well. So tonight, okay, mission accomplished, job done. Next week, and you've been down to Mexico with other Canadian Premier League clubs, including Cavalry last season. So what sort of challenges are at play, and what needs to be done in order to go out and really punch above their weight once again next week?
Well, Bobby Smirniotis is holding his press conference as I speak, and I think that when he gets in his car and drives home and puts his head on his pillow tonight, I think that question that you just asked me is the one thing that's going to be in the forefront of his mind. And they've worked hard to get into that situation that now means they go to Mexico with a chance, knowing that the score is level. So you go there, the longer you can play that out and play on that anxiety that may happen inside that stadium, and maybe give them a chance to think about maybe they can get one goal on the break here and suddenly put them under pressure. They're in far better position than they were in the last 3 times. Obviously, all times that they played here in the past, Monterrey, Chivas Guadalajara, and Cruz Azul, they've not been able to get a draw here. So I think that helps them. And obviously, having another day in another area of fitness will also help them as well. So, look, there's a lot to build on here. But I will say the overall thought is one of just complete aberration for me, the way that they went out and played there. Becker put it better than I'll ever be able to put it. That's why I asked for him for the interview. Obviously, we couldn't get the goalkeeper at the moment as he continues to improve his English. But, just to see this club go out there and deliver a performance like that in that cold weather in the beginning of February was truly remarkable. So every credit to Forge and the Canadian Premier League team to go out and do that.
KJ, one more for you, because you've seen Forge in their previous 6 games in this competition. It was a different Forge team tonight, wasn't it? Like, sometimes it's admirable that Forges try to go toe-to-toe with some of these giants of Mexican football, but this seemed a little bit more pragmatic as well. Do you feel like Bobby Smirniotis and really the players and the club have kind of moved on from past mistakes and really learned what it takes to be competitive in games like this?
I think that's a good point. I don't think that they'll overly talk about that, because they talk here in Hamilton about their DNA, and we have one way of playing and we stick to that. And in many ways, we saw a bit of that. That's why I used the word courage earlier. I still think that they've signed players, the couple of the players that we alluded to, that are going to make a big difference here. But I don't think, and we can get into this for the next couple of months in our CPL previews, I don't think they're going to play with a flat back 5 against Canadian Premier League teams all the time. It did free them up to play that double pivot of Babuli and Becker and Borges as a false 9 with the split strikers, but I think that helps in their pressing in wide areas. So, no, I think I agree with that. When you look back at the last 6 games that they've played in the Champions Cup, rarely have they played that way. And even when they played Hajabrapor in the midfield with Sissoko and Becker, a couple of times where they packed the midfield, they still haven't played that same way. So, look, I still thought they had courage of conviction, as I said, on the ball. I think we played quite a high line when they needed to be. But, yeah, I think, as we alluded to earlier, that they would have taken that 0-0. Bobby Smirniotis told me pre-game that they felt that they needed to get that goal. But in the end, I think he'll be delighted with the way that they defended, and Rama Juranovic and many others were excellent tonight.
Good stuff, KJ. We'll see you tomorrow night in studio. It's much warmer in here, so don't worry. We got a seat ready for you. Look, that's the thing, Jordan. It's like different horses for different courses.
Yes.
And next week it's going to be a completely different game. Maybe you tinker with the approach, some of the selections as well.
Yeah, it just seems who's really informed, right? You're thinking, how do you want to go about the game? Like, Brian Wright was on the bench today and came in. Like, is he one to start? again, a lot of players today stepped up and showed that they should be starting. So Bobby Smirniotis has some decisions to make about next week.
A week tonight, just about this time, we'll be just about ready to go on air to tee up the second leg. Tigres in Forge. It's a Concacaf Champions Cup right here on One Soccer. Not a win, but the first time Forge with the result in this competition. Well done, well earned. The second Canadian Premier League club who will be making their Concacaf Champions Cup debut is tomorrow night. We'll talk about that next.
It's not just a game. 27 teams, one path.
The opening whistle from Nelson Salgado. We are rolling.
Strength, madness, obsession. One cup. This is football, and these are its most epic battles. This is the Concacaf Champions Cup.
Well, guys, no school.
Snow day! Yay!
Come on,
Otherwise known as a WeatherTech Day.
let's go.
So when the weather turns bad, you can still find a way to enjoy it. With WeatherTech's laser-measured curve aligners, seat protectors, and floor liners. Order yours today at weathertech.ca. The ultimate protection for your vehicle.
Be the luckiest shot I've ever seen. Hey, Mom. Chips. Whoa! Oh, thanks, Mom.
Boys got you again? Mm-hmm.
For generations, we've put more goodness in so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Think it can't get any better? We think you should have more. More confidence. More space. More style. And who doesn't want more fun? We all deserve more. That's why there's an SUVW for everyone. Taos, Tiguan, Atlas, Cross Sport, and the all-electric ID4. I see you looking.
Wednesday night, which is tomorrow, in Langley, British Columbia, Vancouver FC, for the first time, is going to be competing in the Concacaf Champions Cup.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
And you know one of those welcomes when you step into a party? They're dancing with, like, the best partner that they can be as they walk into the ball, because it's Cruz Azul, the champions from a season ago. Baptism by fire. Let's hear from Vancouver FC's star young player, Tierno Ba, on the mentality that they'll need to have tomorrow night to compete against the best of the best in CONCACAF.
We held our own, man, against one of the best teams in North America in a final just a few months ago, right? So we have nothing, for one, to lose, in my opinion. And for two, it's just like, we're going to play. I'd never, ever step on a pitch and expect to lose or go out to lose. And I know 10 other people on that pitch that day, excluding our bench, but then on top of our bench as well, there's maybe another 10 in that competition. Nobody's going out there to lose. Like, we're going out there to really play our game. And if we need to be in a tight, whatever, sit back, whatever, then so be it. But we're not going out there saying, let's just not get pummeled. No, it's not. I don't think that's us. And I don't think that's who we showed we are in the last maybe like month and a half of our season either. We've showed that when we get things right, we can be a big and a very good team in the league and in the cup. So if you ask me, what is it about going into this bigger competition? I think we need to just keep our head. Honestly, it's going to be every little cheap foul, maybe not trying to get a yellow card early, because we know that as Mexicans, they like to get under your skin, and we know that. We're not naive to it. We're not going to act like we don't know what they're about. So going out in this game is not about shying away from the light. It's just about embracing it for us, honestly. We have nothing to lose. As you said, we can make the mockery kind of as the best last place team. We have nothing to lose out there. We're just going to go out and play our game, in my opinion.
Tierno Ba. There's a lot to like about that kid, isn't there? Both his personality, like, that's how he is. Authentic, likable, but on the field as well. I mean, he thrilled the Canadian viewing public on that run to the TELUS Canadian Championship final last year, which he mentioned they lost to the Vancouver Whitecaps, the second best team in Concacaf last year, an MLS Cup finalist in the Vancouver Whitecaps, and they were competitive throughout. So is it really the case of nothing to lose? Or, you know, do you expect this team to throw a good punch here tomorrow night?
They're playing with house money. It's David against Goliath, but I think when you hear Boss speak, you're like, you got to go and play uninhibited. Like, it gives you chills in that way because you kind of want to play in matches like that, right? I think when you look at it, obviously it's 0-0. You start that match and you're like, okay, well, they still got to score. Everyone's going to put money on Cruz Azul. But there will still be moments like this when you see Ba, you know, Mosquito playing the ball, Ba just making that run and believing, scoring in the final. Great finish. We're going to have moments like this tomorrow, right, where they just can capitalize. So take your shot, take your punch, whether it be a roundhouse, whatever it might be. Like, take that little punch to try to get in and show your quality. So there's a lot to like about this side. There's some players that you really believe in, Wheels, and I like their chances of going to start their season well, and that's tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's really
I mean,
matters.
this is a completely new experience for them, so they're going to have to grow into the game. But a couple things have changed. One, their manager, Martin Nash, who was interim at the time of the Canadian Championship final, he's now the full-time head coach of Vancouver FC. He has another manager with a ton of experience as his #1 assistant in Nick Dasovic, a player that he played for the national team with. So they're going to be well-versed. They're going to be well-coached going into this game. And Martin Nash, in conversation with him yesterday, said he likes his team. He thinks they're better than the team that did finish last place but went on a cup run last year. But it looks like they've added some really interesting players to the mix to go along with young players like Tierno Ba, who are looking to take the next step in their careers as well.
It needs to be stated again, this is their 4th year as a team. Like
as a club.
As a club, yeah. Right? So I think this is also the first year where their spine is intact. They also have players like Ba that can come in. You have players that Mosquito that's had a great resume as well.
More experience,
More experience. I think there's just some big leaders. I know Palisi coming in as well. There's players that have played in the Canadian Premier League before. Donor. These are guys that could just carry the team and put them in the spot that they need to be. Is everything going to click tomorrow at once? Probably not. But are they a better squad than they've ever been? I think so.
It's not easy for new clubs when they're in the shadow of a historic club like the Vancouver Whitecaps to find their way. This is a big night, not only for the players on the field, but for the club off the field as well. Sounds like as of right now, over 90% of the tickets have been sold.
Which is big.
Let's push it 100. At least get Gretzky. 99%. Honestly, February, it's been rainy, it's been cool. Get out and support the club this week. It's if you have those winter blues, this is the way to set it right against the Blue Machine in Cruz Azul. This is fun. The Concacaf Champions Cup is well underway. It is Olympia and Club America in progress. We're joining it live next. Jordan Wilson and I, and Christian Jack will be in studio tomorrow night. Final score from Hamilton Stadium, it's Forge 0, Tigres 0. Thank you for joining us. This is the Concacaf Champions Cup, and you're watching right here on Canada's soccer leader. It's One Soccer.